A hoe. There's only one tool you need for gardening. And I've got it.
It's a hammer.
It'll be a hammer. It's not a hammer!
This
Is that a hoe?
is all you... No, it isn't. No, if you want to remove a plant, say, OK, there are no thistles at this time of year, but imagine they're thistles. How do you get them up?
Well, you take one of these, which is a trowel,
Yeah.
and then you approach it like that, and you dig round it, lift it, and there it is.
That took you
About 30 seconds.
dirty fingernails, cricked back.
It's gardening, that's what you do.
OK, now let me show you how I would remove it, OK? See these three here? Ready?
Well, granted, they're gone, but you
They're
can't.
gone.
You can't garden with a
They
shotgun.
have ceased to exist.
The Demon herself, the ship that you will get after maxing out the levels of 3 characters in the collection: Javelin, Laffy, and Z-23. You get Ayanami, one of the most iconic destroyers from the Sakura Empire. I'm sure everyone's wondering why she calls herself a demon, not just because of her appearance, but
から味わうがいい鬼神の力味わうがいい
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Ayanami, a ship many people think of when they need high torpedoes damage. So, let's find out why Ayanami is an indispensable choice for your fleet, especially for beginners playing as a lane. IJN Ayanami was a revolutionary Fubuki-class destroyer of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Ayanami is the lead ships of Type 2 Fubuki group featuring an enlarged bridge and improved gunhouse design. Built by the Fuji Nagata shipyards, she was commissioned on April 30th, 1930, and became famous for her devastating offensive capabilities. Her key technical innovations. At the time, her guns could elevate high to 75 degrees so they could function at an anti-air at well, something that was incredibly advanced for destroyers during that era. But of course, the real thing people remember her for was her torpedoes. She carried 9 610mm torpedo tubes capable of launching the deadly Type 90 and later Type 93 torpedoes, and 6 127mm guns. During World War II, Ayanami participated in multiple major operations, including the invasion of Malaya, the Indian Ocean Raid, and the Battle of Midway. On December 19th, Ayanami sank the Dutch submarine O-20 with assistance from her sister ships Uranimi and Ujiri. But the event that truly earned her legendary status came during the Solomon Islands campaign. This is where she earned the nickname, the Demon of Solomon. She got the nickname through numerous Tokyo Express that she this at night, escort and transport troops to various locations in the Solomon Islands during October and November without being spotted by the US Navy. In total, she completes 7 missions. During the Second Naval Battle of Guadalcanal on November 14th and 15th, 1942, Ayanami threw an American task force into chaos. She heavily damaged and directly crippled multiple US destroyers, mainly come from her 9 610mm torpedo tubes. However, things eventually turned against her after the battleship USS Washington located her using radar-directed fire. The overwhelming shelling from Washington left Ayanami heavily damaged and burning. Her surviving crew evacuated to the destroyer Uranimi, which later scuttled Ayanami with torpedoes. And just like that, the Demon of Solomon disappeared beneath Iron Bottom Sound. Gameplay-wise, Ayanami is exactly what you would expect from a Sakura Empire destroyer. She's fast, fragile, but capable of dealing absolutely ridiculous torpedo damage for a started ship. She's basically the definition of a high-risk, high-reward destroyer. If played correctly, Ayanami can melt enemies incredibly quickly. But if you're careless, she can also disappear just as fast. At level 100, sadly, she has only 62 firepower, but her main damage doesn't came from her main gun. Instead, it came from her torpedo. Ayanami already started showing why players fear her torpedoes so much. Her torpedo stat reaches an impressive 484, making her one of the strongest torpedo-focused destroyers for newer players. Combined with her high reload of 202 reload and decent 179 accuracy, She can deal massive burst damage when her torpedoes connect properly. Her anti-air, however, is fairly weak, is only 133, so she's not particularly effective against enemy aircraft. Her anti-submarine is okay to use. At 191, give her a good chance to fight against submarine. Defensively, she's exactly what you would expect from a destroyer. Her light armor and her low HP pool of 1,623 means she can't take many direct hits. But to compensate for that, her extremely high evasion of 216 and 45 speed with 36 lux, allowing her to survive through dodging rather than tanking damage. And with an oil cost of only 9, she's also very economical to use. As you continue investing into Ayanami, her strengths become even more noticeable. Her torpedo damage keeps climbing higher, while her reload, evasion, and overall offensive consistency continue improving as well. And once you reach her level 125 retrofit, Ayanami basically becomes the strongest version of herself. Her torpedo start becomes absolutely terrifying, her survivability improves slightly thanks to higher evasion and HP, and overall, she feels significantly smoother to play. Does this suddenly make her immortal? Absolutely not. She's still a destroyer, and bad positioning can get her deleted very quickly. But in return, she offers some of the highest burst damage potential you can get from a destroyer. Let's take a look at her skills to see what she brings to the fleet. Skill 1, the Demon, gives her a massive 60% increase to her own torpedo stat for 12 seconds after firing her main gun. With a 5-second cooldown, starts on cooldown. When having an augment module, her first skill got some improvement. The Demon Plus increases her torpedo damage dealt by 10%, and at the start of battle, her torpedo stats receiving a massive temporary boost. Increases her torpedo stats by 100% for 8 seconds, allowing her to unleash absurd burst damage early into fights. After the buff expires, she also gains damage reduction, helping her survive a little longer afterward. Her second skill, Demon Dance, further improves her survivability and offense. Every 20 seconds, she has 70% chance to increase her evasion by 30% for 5 seconds, while also launching a powerful barrage alongside fast-moving torpedoes in a helical pattern. And finally, her all-out assault activates every 10 times the main gun fired, launching additional barrages depending on her limit break level. For Ayanami's build, your main priority is maximizing her torpedo damage as much as possible. That's where the majority of her damage comes from. As for her main gun,
Know your fucking place, trash.
As for her main gun, you generally want something with a very high fire rate rather than raw damage. The faster she fires her main gun, the more often she can activate her skills and trigger her all-out assault. And honestly, this setup works for almost every destroyer that relies on main gun attacks to activate their skills. For her main gun, the old reliable option is still the single 76mm 3-inch 50 caliber gun. It has an incredibly fast fire rate and works perfectly for skill activation. Other beginner-friendly options include the single 102mm QF Mark V and the single 120mm QF Mark 9. For mid and endgame players, stronger choices like the twin 100mm Type 98 or the single 113mm QF Mark IV are excellent options. These not only maintain a solid fire rate, but also give Ayanami a bit more anti-air. Now for torpedoes, this is where the real fun begins. The classic 610mm triple and quadruple torpedo mounts are some of the best choices for maximizing raw torpedo damage. The 533mm quadruple torpedo mount is also a decent alternative depending on your setup. If you mainly play on auto mode, though, you may prefer homing torpedoes instead. They're easier to land on moving enemies. Unfortunately, homing torpedoes can be a little difficult for beginners to obtain. Options like the 533mm triple and quadruple homing torpedo mounts are usually locked behind Iron Blood gearboxes and some permanent War Archive event. And finally, if you want to build Ayanami closer to her real-life configuration, You can also run the twin 127mm Type 3 alongside the 610mm triple torpedo mount for a more historical set. Ayanami is a good ship for beginners when you need someone that can nuke every enemy off the map. I'm still pretty new to YouTube myself, so any feedback is greatly appreciated and helps me improve future videos. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know which ship you'd like to see reviewed next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
魂を知れ者